Thanks for joining me again, my fellow programmers, as we explore system methods. You can see from our learning objective today, we want to understand how to call system methods to generate output to the console. So as programmers, we want to display information on the screen. A program wouldn't be very useful if it never displayed results to the screen. We would tell it to process some data, and then it would just tell us that it was done. But if we couldn't see what it processed, we wouldn't know if it did it correctly. We would ask the computer, where are the results? And it'll say, don't worry about it. I did it right. And that doesn't do us any good unless we see the actual results. So we want to display information to the console. So we can think about it this way. When you send a text, what actually happens to that text message? We know we want it to go to the intended recipient, but what we don't think about is that text message. That text message first goes to a cell tower, and then from that cell tower, it goes to a messaging center, and then from that messaging center, it goes to another cell tower, and then from that cell tower, it goes to the person that you wanted to send it to. We don't want to think about all of that complicated stuff in the background. We just want to hit the button and we just want to know that it goes to our intended recipient. All of that other complicated cell tower to messaging center stuff, we want somebody else to figure that out, and we want all of that to happen in the background without us having to worry about it. Well, the same thing happens when we are programming. We want to give a command. So like we say we want to print something, we want to print hello world, and we just want that to display on the screen. We don't want to have to worry about the complications of displaying a window on the screen and then getting all the characters into the output screen and making sure that everything prints on the correct line. We want somebody else to handle all that complicated stuff for us. We just want to say, this is what I want displayed, display it. And that's what methods are great for. So here we have a line of code on the screen. We read that as system.out. Now, as programmers, you will see a lot of periods in your code. We don't read that as period. We don't say system period out. We read that as the word dot. So we say system.out.print, and then we have parentheses, and then inside double quotes, we have hello world, and then we have our semicolon at the end. So we are going to break up this line of code, and we're going to find the method inside here. The first thing we're going to look at is this blue highlighted box. You should already know what that blue highlighted box is. You should be so excited that you just screamed it out while watching the video. That blue highlighted box is... that is our string literal. It is just some characters enclosed in double quotes. That is not our method. Remember, the computer just knows, okay, whatever is inside those double quotes, I am not going to know how to execute. I am just going to leave that alone. So that's not our method. So now let's look at this green box. We have the print, and then we have the open close parentheses. That is our method. And so what a method is, it is a programmed procedure. So what that means is a procedure, it's just a routine of things to do, a set of steps in your routine. And it's programmed, meaning it's been programmed beforehand. There is some code that this will run. That code has already been written. We can pass additional information as an argument, so you can see that string literal is inside of that method. It is part of that method call. And so it can take in additional information. Because if we want to use this print method, we need to tell it what we want it to print. It knows when we say print, it knows that we want it to display the information on the screen. That part it knows how to do. It doesn't know what information. That's what we need to tell it. So we don't need to tell it how to display it. That part's already been programmed into the method. We just need to give it the information of what to display. And so since this has been pre-programmed already, we can just reuse it as many times as we want just by calling it by that name print. And we can pass in different arguments and it will print out different things to the screen. So somebody has already figured out how to take characters and display them on the screen. And they have written all the code to do that, and they packaged it up in this nice little package called a method, and they gave it the name print, and they said, you can use my method whenever you want by just calling the method print. Now we're going to focus on that red highlighted box where it says system with a capital S. That is the class. Now a class is just a collection of methods and variables. So the system class has a whole bunch of methods inside of it. So that's why we are talking about system methods. These are all methods from the system class. So you can think of it like an encyclopedia. You go to the library and there's a whole bunch of encyclopedias, and each book is a collection of different things. So same thing with classes. A class is just a collection of different methods. You would go to the library, you would find the system book, and then inside there would be all of the different methods that you can use. So it's just a collection of methods and other variables. We are going to focus on two specific methods from the system class. We're going to focus on two system methods. Down the left-hand column, we have system.out.print with the parentheses at the end. Methods always need to have the parentheses at the end. We just call that the print method. It outputs the argument to the console. So whatever argument that you put inside those parentheses, it takes that and just displays it to the console. It will keep the cursor on the same line in the console. So after it displays that information, the cursor will be waiting on that same line for more information to display. Down the right-hand column, we have system.out.println. We call that the println method, or we can call it the println method. Again, there will be an argument inside those parentheses. Again, it will output that argument to the console. How this one is different though, it will move the cursor to the beginning of the next line. So it's just like you typed a word in your word processor and hit enter. So the print method on the left, you type a word and don't hit enter. So the next time you print a word, it will show up on that same line. The println method, it's like you typed a word and hit enter. So we can see some examples of it here. The first row is that print method. You'll see 3 lines of code. When we say print A, print B, print C, they all stay on the same line. And so in that console on the right, you can see the cursor is waiting in the next space right after C. You won't actually see the cursor in the console, but I'm just showing it as an underscore character. That's where the console, or that's where the cursor is waiting in the console. On the next line, we have our println method. So we have print line A, print line B, print line C. So it's like we did A, enter, B, enter, C, enter. And so now the cursor is waiting on the next line. So those are the difference between those two methods. So to recap, a method is pre-programmed code that performs a task. A class is just a collection of these methods, and the print and print line methods are used to display information to the console. That's going to wrap it up for the system methods. As always, make sure to hit me up with any questions or concerns you have regarding this content. Join us in our next video and keep programming.